Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. This is the Friday show. I'm Scott Belford, normally joined by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. He is still on hiatus, so very lucky to have the kid Wonder Boy, if you will. Hey, you like that? No, Matt hates that.
I
Matt,
don't
thank
know.
you. He's like, I'm undecided. Editor extraordinaire, intern extraordinaire, fill in host. Thank you so much for picking up the slack here, buddy. And we got lots to talk about.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, Scott. I'm really ready to dive into it today.
Oh man, we're this is a pitching heavy episode. Obviously, we've got Shane Bieber. It is his night to shine in Miami. We're going to get our first look at the biggest acquisition from the trade deadline for this Toronto Blue Jays team. Of course, Cal Steven being moved from the prospect side of things to get Shane Bieber, a possible ace at the top of that rotation. His rehab has come to an end and he's joining the big club. So we'll dive into that. Jose Berrios has been struggling, and we are going to dig in a little. We're going to dive in and kind of pull apart all of his numbers and see what's going on under the hood there. Eric Lauer is stated to be available out of the pen. He is skipping a start here. Rotation does feel like it's going to be a bit of a shapeshifter over the next month. So we'll talk that. We'll look at our minor league system. A few guys to kind of update you on: Arjun Namala, Trey Yesavich, Ricky Tiedemann, Johnny King, and friend of the show, Riley Terada, who is actually going to be making an appearance next Monday. Then we have the Red Sox versus the Yankees. This is huge for the Toronto Blue Jays side of things, right? All sorts of implications in this four-game series. The Red Sox winning game one yesterday. So we'll talk that, and then we'll take a look at the Jays schedule before we dive in. Uh, gonna do some promo. So I know some of you are always like, I love the comments that are like, get to it already, hurry up. It's like, sorry that uh I could be just doing, like Adam and I went through a phase where we were like, anyone who would give us sponsorship we were taking. So, we were doing the manscaping and the NordVPN and all that sort of stuff, but we
All the
don't do that.
YouTube, the
All the
classic
on the
YouTube
YouTube, the
stuff.
classic YouTube stuff, we don't do that anymore. And now I just promote our own shows. So deal with it, I guess, is the long and short of it. Baseball Town, September 4th. Super excited for this because we have a stacked panel from the Score. We've got Jonah Birnbaum. This is going to be his first time on Baseball Town. Very excited about that. Our other two guests are a couple of Baseball Town veterans coming from Sportsnet. We've got Chris Black. If you are a fan of Chris Black, you probably are well aware of what he does on Twitter. His Twitter threads are literally top notch. They're the best
Oh yeah.
breakdown of players out there at Down to Black. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. And then last and definitely not least, just joining the panel, Rob Wong, who has done the show numerous times. He used to be on Jay's Talk, taking everyone's phone calls. We'll dive into what he's doing at the show now. He's got new exciting adventures in front of him. And then we also have a very, very special possible guest. Fingers crossed, it would be the biggest guest that Baseball Town has ever had. Don't want to overhype it here, but can't confirm quite yet because his kid is going to college and he may need to help him move. But hopefully, September 4th, the moving is done. So, and we can announce that hopefully next week. He'll know for sure. Tickets for that are going to be available in the description. I'll also put them into the comment section as well. I'm playing Edmonton September 4th. September 6th. That's the Saturday. I'm touring out west with the very funny Alex Fortin, fellow headline comedian. The show is going to be at the Grindstone Theater in Edmonton. So all the Edmonton Patreon members, all the Edmonton grounds crew members would love to see you out. Feel free to check out the ticket link in that comment section here. Also, by the way, we're playing Sea Change Brewery in Beaumont. So shout out to Beaumont, Alberta, just outside of Edmonton. Everyone always talks about how maybe we pick on Beaumont too much. This is something that Adam and I, whenever we need to pick a small town, Beaumont seems to be it. But I know we've got a couple Patreon members and a couple listeners in Beaumont. So again, Friday night, I should say, September 5th in Beaumont. All right, there you go. Let's dive into some Blue Jays here. It is Bieber
Finally.
night. Yeah, finally, right? Oh my God, how do they put up with us? Shane Bieber night in Miami. And this is coming off a pretty shit series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Disappointing to say the least. The Pirates, one of the worst teams in baseball, and the Blue Jays, in all honesty, they just didn't show up. However you want to compartmentalize that, however you want to spin that, whatever narrative you want to put on it. I just kind of think that it was a bit of a letdown series and we shouldn't read too much into it. Good teams lose to bad teams all the time, and I don't think that this means anything overly outside of they got to bear down a little bit more when they're playing teams that they can make hay against. So hopefully the lesson has been learned. They go into Miami. They really need to take 2 of 3, but good Lord, a sweep would be absolutely incredible, especially with the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox facing off. These are the two teams in the division, both of them 5 games back. I shouldn't say that. The Yankees 4.5 back. So they're right in there with them. And everyone's obviously scoreboard watching. So just
Yeah.
taking care of their business, Matt, is priority number one here.
Oh, 100%. If they can take two, it's a 3 game series, right?
Yeah.
If they take 2 of 3 and best case scenario would be Boston, New York split,
Hmm.
that would be like perfect, ideal. We'd probably gain
Yeah, you gain a game on
gain a
each of them.
game or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, like that would be perfect. If we sweep, even better.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shane Bieber has not pitched a Major League Baseball game since April 7th of 2024. Huge expectations on him. I think that the Blue Jays fan base is very excited about the ceiling of Shane Bieber. But my question for you, Matt, is what is realistic, right? So Shane Bieber was 6-6 with an ERA of 3.8 and 107 strikeouts in 21 appearances in 2023. So that's about 128 innings. I think it was like 128.1. Um, a 3.87 FIP. So basically, he was what he was. Reminder to everyone, FIP is basically read exactly like ERA, but it's adjusted for defense and fielding. Or sorry, defense and the field. So it just kind of takes the, I don't know, the when it comes to the different teams have different defenses, so it's kind of trying to
Oh
remove
yeah,
that, right, and just make it like
yeah.
this is what it would be if just the defense is even across the board here. So Shane Bieber pretty much was what he was in 2023, but he was also struggling with injury. He was in and out of the lineup. So if you look at 2022, he looked a lot better with a 2.88 ERA in 200 innings and was absolutely dominant. And that is the Shane Bieber everyone is excited about. That is the Shane Bieber that I think if he shows up for this Toronto Blue Jays team is going to make us fans salivate and very excited for maybe our game 1 or game 2 starter in the playoffs, right? Like Shane Bieber does have a huge ceiling.
Oh, 100%. The ceiling is honestly 2015 David Price. It's really like that's the feeling I'm getting
Yeah.
today. Um, Obviously it's a huge different situation coming off of injury. It's his first game back. Realistically, and I know everyone's expecting him to just be the Cy Young winning Shane Bieber right off the bat. Realistically, if we can get 5, 6 innings a game off of him, that's perfect.
Hmm.
Like first couple starts, 5, 6 innings, maybe like down the stretch, like push him to 7, see how he can go, let his pitch count go a bit up. Realistically, like we talked about this in the Patreon side, an 80 pitch count is probably what we're going to be looking at. And the telltale sign is going to be his strikeouts. He's a
Yes.
big time strikeout guy. If he doesn't walk a lot, like 2023, 107 strikeouts to 34 walks, 2022, 198 strikeouts to 36 walks.
And that's probably the thing that is going to be worth keeping an eye on the most is his walk rate, because Bieber is all about hitting his spots, right? How well is this man locating? And you're going to be able to kind of read from his walk rate as to where he's at in his recovery. Because if Bieber is hitting his spots, and again, he's not really a huge velo guy. So
No.
as long as he's hitting his spots, he has the potential to be the dominant force he was in 2022 and 2021, and of course his shortened season Cy Young award winning year in
Yeah.
2020. And that is what Blue Jays fans are after. Now this starting staff, man, it is with his return, there are some interesting things going on. And obviously we are going to talk Eric Lauer, but before we do that, I want to deep dive into Jose Berrios and what is going on with the horse of this Blue Jays staff. This dude logs innings, and he's continuing to do that this year. Maybe not quite at the rate that we saw last year in 2023. We'll get into that here. So let's just start with his numbers, his hard, firm numbers of how he has produced. So he is at 146.2 innings pitched right now. He has 6 to 7 more starts in him. If he is, let's call it 7, if he pitches just 5 innings each start, and I think that's fairly reasonable to expect from Jose, he's at 180 innings on the year. So
Yeah.
last year he finished at 192. In 2023, he finished at 189. So slightly off what we've seen out of him the last couple years, but still really, really valuable when it comes to just eating innings. He's at a 4 ERA, 4.00, right on the nose. Is that ideal? Is it great? It's a little under his career average of 3.8. It's a little bit less than last year where he pitched to, I think it was a 3.65 ERA. He's 9-5. I know wins and losses, it doesn't mean as much as it
Yeah.
used to, but it still does. I mean, a win's a win, right? So
Yeah, it does. It contributes.
it contributes. So his hard numbers, yeah, they're a little down, but they're not horrible. But we have seen him really slip in his last 4 or 5 starts. So his xERA, Matt, which refers to expected ERA, and if you're not aware of what that is, it's a statistic that measures a pitcher's underlying performance. So it's kind of translating that expected weighted runs on base, so WOBA, to an ERA scale, focusing on the quality and quantity of contact a pitcher allows rather than defensive results. So the Blue Jays defense has really helped Jose Berrios this year. If you look at his xERA, he's sitting at 4.7 both this year and last year. Again, last year the defense helped him quite a bit too. So what does this mean? Is that he's actually what we are getting right now. Jose Barrios seems to be the guy who just relies on luck and it just is always on his side. We're seeing it far more this year, it catching up with him. Doesn't mean Barrios' devil magic is dried up, by the way. I really think that he still can. Like the truth is, man, Jose Barrios could go out on Saturday. I think that's his next start. Uh,
Yeah.
he could go out on Saturday, pitch 7 innings, get 8 strikeouts, and it wouldn't shock anyone, right?
No,
Like he,
it's it's very hit and miss. The whole thing is him hitting his spots. Because there's countless times this year where I've seen um what's it? He's got the slurve, right?
yeah,
I've seen his slurve not break as much as I want, left hanging, sinker kind of left hanging,
his
missing his
four
spots.
his four seamers velo is down a
Yeah.
couple RPMs.
Like
Yeah, like his stuff plus has been in decline for a long time. If you just look at his Savant page, it is all blue, not great. right? Is he capable of better starts? Well, we just kind of touched on that. And what's really happening is when he misses his spots, hitters have been elevating him, which is why you're seeing him give up more home runs. He gets mad respect and he should get mad respect for the innings that he eats. And I know it looks like he's probably down 10 to 15 innings compared to the last couple years. Still very, very valuable. And you know what? Like, I know that there's a ton of talk right now with Lauer going to the bullpen. Should it be Bieber? Should it be him? Should it be Bassett instead? Like Bieber has kind of thrown a wrench in this whole thing. I think they they chose this very well. I know we talked about this a little bit in the preamble, and we're going to dive into Eric Lauer a little bit more here in just a second. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But the rubber arming, this is a term friend of the show, Trevor mentioned rubber arming. Like literally, Jose Berrios rubber arming constantly is probably the wall he's hitting right now. If you are unaware of how much wear and tear is on this man's arm, then let's put it in innings for you because he is at 1,552 innings pitched. This is a guy who goes in every single season, every 5 days, and gives you innings. And I know that there's people who are really down on him right now and are chalking this up to it's his contract. That's why they chose Berrios over Lauer and all of this stuff. I really don't think that's the case. Berrios has never pitched out of the bullpen. There is something to be said for having a skill set to do that, for having done it before, something Lauer has done. Lauer in Milwaukee yo-yoed up and down between starting staff and the bullpen, and he did it very well. Having that experience and having the mindset to be able to do that goes a long way. And even the way that John Schneider worded it, right, is that Eric Lauer is going to be available out of the bullpen this weekend. He didn't say he's relegated to the bullpen. He didn't say this is where he's going to stay. I think that, like we kind of mentioned off the top, we're in for a starting staff
I
that is
mean,
going to be a shapeshifter. You're going to
yeah.
see all sorts of different iterations of what we have seen up to this point.
And the big thing, like the big contributor to that is, again, we talked about this at the top of the show, is getting innings down for your starting pitchers. Like, yeah, it's good. Brios is down like 10, 15 innings from his usual pace. But we also have to remember last year's pace was ending end of September. This pace is going on hopefully
Great
a long
point.
playoff run, which is going to add another what, like 4 starts, 5 starts possibly. Um, no, yeah, something like four
And I know that there's
potentially.
so like listen, we'll dive into Eric Lauer a little bit here because since Eric Lauer joined the Toronto Blue Jays rotation on permanent basis, that was mid-June. He ranks first among the team's starters in win percentage. He's 6-1. I know again the win percentage doesn't really matter all that much. ERA, he has a 3.05, FIP a 3.38, so he is kind of what he is there. His K walk ratio is 3.9, which is incredible, and he's accumulated wins above replacement of 1.4. This is great. No one's more equipped to step in and out of the bullpen than Eric Lauer, and that is why he got the choice. And for everyone that's worried about the chemistry, worried about the way Eric Lauer takes it, Eric Lauer's a big boy, folks. He is a 31-year-old veteran who spent most of last season rehabbing and in Korea. You don't think that he's prepared to do what it takes to be on a World Series contending team to help this team win as they approach the playoffs and beyond? Of course he is. I know that they had Adam Simber on Blair and Barker yesterday. Maybe it was a couple days ago. But
Yeah, it was yesterday, I think.
But Adam
Yeah.
Simber basically said the same thing, right? That it's really difficult as a pitcher to have hurt feelings and take the selfish stance when you're on a winning team that is getting it done. And he expected that Lauer has no hurt feelings. And it's tough to argue with that. And again, I think everyone would like it to be black and white. We talk about this all the time. This is my famous speech, but like there is a gray area here, and John Schneider was very calculated with the way he worded what is going on with Eric Lauer. He did not say he's going to the bullpen. Just the fact that he put it, he's going to be available out of the bullpen over this weekend says a lot. And there's some intelligence to this as well. Shane Bieber, this is his first start back. What if Shane Bieber gets blown up in the first inning? I mean, there is no one in that bullpen who has length. There's setbacks when guys are coming back from rehab. This is his first start since April 7th, 2024. You don't know what's going to happen. No one has a crystal ball. Things could go completely sideways. And if they do you want to rip through your entire bullpen before game 2 and 3 of a very important series in Miami? I would say you absolutely do not. There's a reason why Braden Fisher was sent down so that they could do this.
100%.
Jose
Also, like,
Berrios pitches Saturday, Matt. Maybe
yeah,
he has another problem, right? Like,
yeah. And circling back to the feelings thing, I almost view this as a compliment to Eric Lauer of them being like, "Hey, you are having a lights out year. We are 100% confident in you. You're gonna be the guy where if shit hits the fan, you're our safety net.
mhm.
You are gonna come out of the pen, you're gonna save us, and we have 100% confident that you're gonna do it. I have 100% confidence that he's gonna do it. I feel like if you say like, hey Lauer, go pitch 5, 6, 7, or hey, we got lit up in the second, you're pitching third through 7. I feel like okay, like this is comfortable, this is okay, we can deal with this. I don't feel the stress and anxiety of like um a couple of these guys like Yariel doing the long starts didn't work out in the
Mhm.
past. And it saves our bullpen arms for bigger days, like you said.
It really does. And grounds crew, drop your comments. Where are you at on this Eric Lauer pitching out of the bullpen this weekend? Do you like it? Do you think that they picked the wrong guy? Where are you at on the mental side of this and how you think Eric Lauer is wrestling with this and dealing with it? I think again, it like you said, Matt, I think it is a real compliment to Eric Lauer that they believe in his mettle and his mental fortitude to be able to deal with this and just his performance in general, that he has it within him to come into a game in the third inning and lock things down for 5 innings if they need him to. I think it's a huge compliment to Eric
Oh,
Lauer.
100%.
And you know what? There's been a lot of people shitting on Chris Bassett too, being like it should be Bassett in there. It might still be. Like there may be a moment. Listen, for everyone, some I gotta get off Twitter, man. It just drives me nuts, and I get so frustrated when there's baseball takes that aren't baseball takes. It's like, no, like this isn't how the game of baseball works. Like, what are you talking about? But like so many people were mad at Chris Bassett after that 2-1 loss to the Pirates. And it's just like he pitched 5.2 innings, allowed 2 runs.
Yeah, that's not on
Like
him. And
what more do you want out of your starter?
2 runs were also in 1 inning.
The
It's not,
first inning.
yeah, like he locked it down for the rest, and that's a huge like this is something that was said over and over again throughout like Sportsnet, Jays Talk, throughout the whole season, is if you can keep a team under 3 or 4, the Blue Jays offense has a chance constantly. If your starter holds them there, and that's exactly what Bassett did. And it was another big thing. It was on the road.
It was
He,
on the road, and that is where Chris Bassett struggles the most. It is so weird how his
yeah,
splits are that wide apart, where he's a below 3 ERA at home and above 6 on the road. It is insane. In fact, I think that this last or dipped him back into the 5 ERA on the road. because of how well he did. It's just a scenario where maybe they do start to look at those type of numbers, and maybe they do next time around. They put line Eric Lauer up for the start, put Chris Bassett in there ready for the long man role. I think we're going to see all of these guys maybe used in that way. Jose Berrios, a lot of people want to see him in that role. He might not. We'll see how the Blue Jays brass, we'll see how the khakis and the analytics department decide he is best used. Probably going to
This
allow
is
him to continue to eat innings.
that's an interesting opinion too, because I haven't seen too much, like maybe the odd tweet every now and then of Brios to the pen,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like in my mind, you have to always think of the pen of like situational. You have your closer, you got your setup, you got like your 6-7 guy, like um. So who's your middle? Who's gonna be your long innings guy who's gonna eat innings? And it has to be someone you have confidence in shutting down. It's not just a starter role where okay, your starter can get lit up and someone can come in, replace him, shut him down. You have to have a guy who is lights out, who is completely shut down, and in my mind, Eric Lauer is that guy.
By the way, too, everybody, if you look at Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios, and Kevin Gosman, they've been a three-headed monster for this team for years now. They log innings like crazy. And we watched Kevin Gosman go through a similar thing Jose Barrios is going through in May. Literally, these guys with tons of wear and tear on their arms, they do have these moments, and they can last a month. Like, look back at Kevin Gosman's numbers, right? His velo was down. He wasn't hitting his spots. He was struggling. It just seemed like he didn't have it with his arm anymore. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Jose Barrios. And these guys just need to work through it. And is it fun to watch as a fan? No, of course not. But also, let's put a little perspective on this in that Jose Barrios does still just have a 4.00 ERA. I mean, one good start and he's back around his career average. The
Yeah,
panic is a little unwarranted.
no, he's still, and there's still a month. There's still a month for him to fix it. Like, I would rather him like steadily fix it, maybe have a bad start here and there, but come playoffs, if he's back to the same old Jose Barrios that we've known for the past few years, I will be more than happy with that.
And worst case scenario, Matt, if Jose Barrios does continue to struggle like this, then it does allow the Blue Jays, they've got the pitching depth right now when it comes to starters, to just not have them on that division series playoff roster. If
Yep.
that's the way they want to go, they have that option. So it is probably better to get your guy right, or at least know that that is something you're going to need to work on next year and not have him in there blowing starts in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Drop your comments. Grounds crew would love to hear what everyone has to say about this starting rotation because it is the talk of the town amongst Blue Jays fans around Toronto and the country in general. So definitely would love to hear your comments and thoughts on this, and we'll dive in on mailbag on Tuesday. Going to the farm. Arjun Namala. You know what? Let's start with Johnny King, actually. Let's start in Dunedin. For um, Johnny King pitching with the Dunedin Blue Jays, correct? He
Yeah.
hasn't been called up yet, or did he get called up a couple? I, I know when I was looking into it, they were talking. This was a couple weeks ago. I was looking at everyone's numbers, and there was talk about him getting a promotion to Vancouver, but he's also 18, and they're probably going to keep him in Dunedin. That's where he is.
Yeah, the stats I have say Florida Complex League.
Yeah, yeah,
So like yeah, Dunedin.
yeah. So
They just separate them. They separate
the
the
Complex League
complex
and then
and
the Florida
Dunedin.
State League. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
But I got
Complex
both.
League
I got both their numbers.
for everyone who is wondering too, the Complex League is basically there's all the organizations that have systems set up around Florida. It's kind of a little bit less of an organized league type of thing. So these complex teams just play against each other, and it's more about even more than regular minor league games. It's more about development and just getting these guys ready for the Florida State League where they would play with the Dunedin Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So Johnny
He,
King is the talk of the Blue Jays organization because he has really moved up the prospect rankings here. Again, just 18 years old, so there's a lot of development to go here, but his velo's incredible for a kid that age and just what he's pulling off. So Matt, go ahead and update us on where he's at.
so in the complex league, these are fantastic numbers. I'll go through the complex and I'll also go through Dunedin. All right, let's start with Dunedin because he was there earlier. Through 9 games, 8 starts, he had a 3.23 ERA, 30 innings, 52 strikeouts to 23 walks. I say that's
Yeah. For an
very
18-year-old,
solid.
super impressive.
And if you think that's impressive, we move to the complex league. ERA of 113 through 7 games, 5 starts, 24 innings, strikeouts 41 to 7 walks.
Wow. And again, when you look at development, hitting your spots always seems to be what comes last, right? Location and locating is a big deal when kids are developing. And then you work on getting, like velo tends to be another thing that increases as kids move up. So the fact that he's locating and has velo right out of the gate at 18 is very, very
Oh
exciting
yeah.
for everyone. I think he's ranked number 5 prospect right now in the Blue Jays system. And I mean, that is a shifting animal as well, obviously, when it comes to prospect rankings, and everyone views things differently. But when it comes to youth, that's always highly valued as well as your K to walk ratio, which he looks great. So, Johnny King, a guy to keep an eye on. He's been killing it in Dunedin, blew the complex league away. So, Johnny King, definitely a guy. Uh,
And for everyone wondering what the strikeout to walk ratio would be, in the complex league, it's 5.86, which is just
Nasty.
fantastic.
Yeah, just nasty. Going to Vancouver. Arjun Namala, obviously, he got the call up from Dunedin to Vancouver in early May. Got out of the chute just killing it, right? Big time power. He was hitting dingers, and that is something that you rarely see in high A, mostly because kids are just trying to distinguish between strikes and balls and having plate discipline, sitting on your pitches, looking for certain things, right? It's all about development. So the fact that he's already putting up homers is pretty exciting. Now, he has hit a bit of a wall. Another thing to keep in mind with this Pacific Northwest League is that they're playing 6 teams there. So they go on these week-long runs against teams where they play one team for 6 games. It's a little easier for organizations to figure a guy out when you play a team that much. So I think that has something to do with it. But also, he's 19 years old. So where's Trey Savage at right now? Currently, by the way, ranked number 3 prospect in the Blue Jays system, just behind JoJo Parker, their first overall draft pick this year. And then, of course, in that number 1 spot, another guy we'll check in on is Trey Savage. Arjun Namala, where we're at.
So he's batting 225. He's got an OPS of 707. The power's there, like you said. He's got 13 home runs, 54 RBIs. The only big issue I see that really, really stands out here is 102 strikeouts,
Yes.
and this is over 107 games, so 489 plate appearances.
Without a doubt, Arjun Namala is going to start the season next year in Vancouver again. But this is where you see these big steps forward, right? Like, just to use your boy, Davis Schneider, as an example, he had the toughest run he's ever had outside of maybe 2024 with the big league team. But in his pro career was in 2021 in Vancouver, where he had literally become relegated to a bench piece. And when you're a bench piece, and this was back when Vancouver was low A, when you're a bench piece in low A, right? Like you start to really tug at your collar and question if maybe professional baseball is for you. Everybody develops at their own rate. And the fact that we're seeing the kind of power out of Namala that we're seeing is very, very tantalizing. Similar to what we saw out of Rolvis Martinez in Double A few years back before he hit this wall and all the steroid stuff and all of that sort of thing. So, good stuff for Arjun, but I think it does send a message to everyone who is like, this is the next savior. Just pump the brakes a little bit here. This kid still probably needs 2 to 3 years of seasoning before he's ready, which still sets him at 22 years old to make a Blue
Yeah.
Jays debut, right? Like this kid has it. He just needs to get better at identifying the pitches that he should be swinging at and just get a little bit more patient when he's in the batter's box.
And something I've said a few weeks ago about Trey Savage, obviously it's a little different retaining from pitcher and batter, but it's always good to kind of see them hit a wall and then
Mhm.
see how they correct it and see how
Yes.
quickly they can correct it. And it's it's personally, I don't always necessarily think hitting a wall is a bad thing because it really shows how they deal with the slumps, how they deal with the adversity, and how they come back stronger. And I think like Namala is going to be on pace to have a really good comeback. And like you said, playing the same team like for multiple weeks at a time, like they're going to
Like
figure out really fast.
big deal if he starts at high A again next year, right? Like, let him go there now that he's has a year under his belt. Let him dominate. He'll still be 19 starting in April next
Oh
year,
yeah.
right? Like he turns 20. I think it's June. Big deal. You know, like if he even if he doesn't get called up to double A until the next year, until 2028 or seven, sorry, 2027. He's still so freaking young
Yeah.
that it's fine. Like, let the kid get those adjustments under his belt. And I think you really nailed on something here that it is important in baseball, a game that is all about adjustments for these kids to have a little experience with struggling, with going through it.
Yeah. Like you're not gonna have it's not gonna be easy every single night. It's not gonna click all the time. You're gonna go through the dog days of summer and have like some of your worst games of your career. And the whole point is just adjusting. Like it's all mind games. It's you adjust, the pitcher adjusts back, you adjust back, and you just figure it out from there.
Look at Jackson Holiday. Never had a struggle his entire minor league career, right? And he's looking pretty good now, but last year was really tough on the kid
Oh
mentally.
yeah.
It was really tough because he got up to the majors and he hit a wall and he had never hit a wall before. So
And
now
that's
you're
like
you're learning how to deal with failure. You're learning how to deal with needing to adjust on the go at the big leagues, which is the hardest.
yeah, and that's detrimental is when you're at the point in your career where you need to get off to a hot start, you need to hit the ground running, and you hit that wall immediately, just kills all your confidence, kills any momentum you're bringing from the minors. It's yeah, it showed that he was not equipped to deal with it.
Which, by the way, Jackson Holiday's a guy that like I've got a little asterisk next to for my fantasy baseball team next year because I'm like, watch that be the year that Holiday really kind of finds himself, right? Now that he's had these struggles and had to readjust and has gotten used to the big leagues, gotten his feet wet and gone through all the rigors of a full regular season, this next season will be when we see Jackson Holiday really take a step forward, or at least that's kind of what the Orioles are hoping for, anyways, right? Okay, let's update everyone on Ricky Tiedemann. This is formerly the number one prospect in the Blue Jays system. Of course, last year he had to undergo Tommy John surgery, which is always a bummer. He has been rehabbing for the last year almost, and he has been doing so in Dunedin. at the pitching lab. He is pitching off a mound, building his arm back up. He has thrown to live hitters recently, and it does look like he is on a trajectory where he will be at the Arizona Fall League, getting in innings there. The Arizona Fall League, of course, runs from September. It runs, I think, a month through September and part of October. And it's just basically a league very much for guys like Ricky Tiedemann, where you got to get this dude some more innings. You got to get this guy some more experience. For everyone who is wondering, the Arizona Fall League, most people kind of say it's a level between double A and triple A. Like you see big leaguers there every once in a while who were injured and are trying to rehab in that scenario at the end of the season. You know, all the minor league leagues shut down middle of September. So it does just allow these guys to get baseball under their belt in a time where there's not a lot of baseball happening. So good news on that front for Ricky. Fingers crossed that he comes out and dominates and that, you know what, he pushes in spring training next year for a starting spot. Because this
Oh
was
yeah.
a very, very talented kid. Just had to deal with injuries.
Yeah, I definitely think personally I'm gonna disagree with you over the push for a starting spot. I don't know if he'll be in the running come the spring just because he's coming off injuries and it's like a weird point in the season. Like he's coming back in the fall
Hmm.
and then like if he was coming back early the spring or even like midsummer this year, I would say yes, he's in contention for a starting spot. Um, but because he's coming off in the fall, I would almost say they're gonna hold off on him for another year, half year, let him just figure his stuff out, like get used to Tommy John and just really not rush it.
I agree with you. I think that they are telling him to get ready to compete for a starting spot in the rotation. I think that that is something he should be aiming for, right? Have that goal of bursting onto the scene in 2026 with a starting role in a Toronto Blue Jays starting staff that needs a starter. But I do agree with you that I do think that they're probably going to slow play him a little bit. And honestly, who knows what their actual mindset is with Ricky Tiedemann at this point? Do they view him? He could truly be a dominant left handed reliever. And it would be a shame that he didn't make it as a starter. But you know what? Teams need dominant relievers too. So we'll see how this trajectory with Tiedemann all plays out in the end. However, I do think that with him getting some baseball under his belt in September and October, that his goal is going to be blowing everyone away in spring training.
Oh, and
And
that should always be a
yes.
player's goal. And we could also just be full of it and he could show up in spring training and be the most lights out pitcher you've ever seen.
And you know what though, Matt, you do make a good point that like I do think that everyone needs to keep inning counts in mind here, you know, like he has 0 innings on his arm right now in
Yeah.
2025. And so even if they do let him make the starting rotation out of the gate, like what do they have on there? Like 100 innings, 120 innings? Like how long do they let him pitch? I
This would be like if we needed, say like so let's say there was a spot open on a spot for play in spring training and we needed a guy who had innings, who had like experience through 2025 and it's coming down to let's say like Adam Macko, Ricky Tiedemann. I would go with Macko
yeah.
specifically for the point of he pitched all 2025, he had a full season under his belt. And then you can always have Tiedemann on the back burner and just say like, look, we just want you to like again slow play him.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's probably the best way to approach it.
Adam Macko, by the way, had his best outing of the season last, I think it was 3 days ago in Buffalo. After, like, he was injured for a good chunk of the summer. He
Yeah.
came back in July and he did struggle out of the gate, but he allowed 1 hit, 0 runs, 4 innings. And they're just starting to like get him to that point where he's hopefully by next season he's right back to where he was knocking on the door of the big leagues. All right, let's get to Trey Savage, number one prospect overall for the Toronto Blue Jays. Had another start yesterday in Buffalo. This guy is a K machine. Strikeouts is something that he has done very, very well. And it's very exciting for everyone who is a Trey Savage fan. Most of the Blue Jays fan base is, because he has done something almost no one does, which is he has seen four levels of baseball this year, starting in Dunedin, going to Vancouver, then to Double-A in New Hampshire, and now with the Buffalo Bisons. So, what is his numbers looking like? Let's start with his Buffalo numbers if you've got those up.
Also, quickly, before we go to the Buffalo numbers, to put in a perspective of how fast he's moving through the or not the majors, but through each level of baseball, he's only pitched 87 innings through all four leagues this year, which is crazy to imagine. But going to his Buffalo numbers, so he's got two starts. He's got through 6 innings. Oh, where did that go? Through 6 innings, he's got a 7.1 ERA, which is a little bit high. Um, he's got 11 strikeouts to 6 walks and hasn't given up a single homer, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
5 earned runs, um, 5 hits. It's kind of an interesting.
His problem in Buffalo has been walks. And this is not a shocking or big surprise for a 22-year-old who is in AAA for the first time. Number one, that AAA league is a bandbox when it comes to offense. And I know that we had prospect um, expert, I guess you could say, prospect savant, Nene, Matt from Nene Takes on Twitter. This guy spends all his time watching minor league ball and analyzing prospects around the league. And his big takeaway from Trey Savage is basically don't expect him at the big leagues this year, but appreciate the development that we have seen out of him and how impressive he has been. And don't read too much into anyone's ERA in AAA because it's probably more inflated than it would be at the majors. Just
Yeah.
the defense isn't what it should be in AAA compared to the majors, and those minor league AAA parks, they are home run heavy, right? So, you know what? Trey Savage has looked really good. The other reason why I don't personally think he's going to get a shot at the big leagues is look at how crowded that bullpen is right now. They just sent Braden Fisher down, who has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Last year, Trey Savage pitched 91 innings. He's at 87. Normally, they like to increase 15 to 20% per year, so that kind of puts him at that 110 inning mark, which means he's got like 22 innings left on his arm this year. Like, yeah, you could put him in the bullpen, but do you want to, or do you want to just let him get used to AAA and really compete for a starting rotation spot next year, which I think Trey Savage is going to have an opportunity to make this team in 2026 out of the gate. We'll see how he does in spring training, and I think the Blue Jays aren't going to push him past where they want his development to be, but I do think that that's a real option.
Yeah, and going back to what we were talking about before, he's hit a wall for the first time in the four leagues. His control is a little bit off. This is a good chance for him with the last like 20 innings or so he's got this year. It's a good chance for him to make some adjustments, try some new things, see how they work, and like you said, compete for a starting role next year. And I think that's fully possible between his velo and if he can make the correction on his control, he's definitely got a chance.
Now, last and not least, we're going to talk about the guy who is probably position player wise the closest to a major league call up with this Buffalo Bisons team. This is friend of the show, Riley Terada. Of course, he has played in the Blue Jay system for 5+ years now. Just turned 27 yesterday, so a happy birthday to Riley Terada. First third baseman and outfielder in this Bisons organization right now, and he is killing it. He's on the verge of a call up if there's an injury or anything like that. Outside of Joey Loperfido, I think he's the next man up. So hopefully Joey stays healthy and all that. And hopefully there aren't any reasons why we might need a first or a third baseman. That's
Knock
wood,
on wood.
everybody, on this big league team. But Riley Terada has been very, very good with the bat this year and defensively has looked good. So let's get a quick update on our friend of the show here, Riley Terada.
So through 93 games, that's 381 plate appearances, 331 at bats. I probably should have said that. He has a 278 batting average, with an 812 OPS. He has 12 bombs, 51 RBIs, 115 strikeouts to 47 walks. So it's a little high on the strikeout end. But overall, he looks very, very good.
The fact he has the positional versatility that he has as well is a pretty big deal, like being able to play first, play third, play some outfield. That is what you're after for a guy like Riley Terada, who is a veteran kind of on that AAA
So this is
scene.
interesting. And you're actually going to find this just as interesting as I did. I was pulling up his defensive stats on Baseball Reference. He has two starts at shortstop this year with the Buffalo
Really?
Bisons. Yeah. Um, Let me see his numbers. So yeah, he played 2 games at short. He started one, 9 innings at short, uh, 1 assist, fielding percentage of perfect of one. Um, they were very not busy games at shortstop, but they threw him in at shortstop for 9 innings.
Very cool. I had no idea. You know what? That is something to be said for Riley Terada, though, right? Is that this is a veteran minor league presence.
Yeah, and who knows the situation if it was like an injury or like they played the rest of their guys in some aspect of the game. But I think it shows, like, I think it's really cool that he has the willingness to try new positions. And even when we talked to him in Buffalo, he was very open about just trying new positions, trying out different stuff. And it's very, like, it's interesting to see that he's getting these opportunities and making the most out of them.
All right, let's get back to the big league team. The Toronto Blue Jays, obviously, in Miami tonight playing the Marlins. They need W's, especially with the two teams chasing them in the division. Playing each other, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees are going head to head for 4 games. Yesterday was the first game of that 4 game series. The Boston Red Sox taking that and winning 6-3. So if you look at the standings as we are right now in the AL East, the Toronto Blue Jays 74 and 54, 20 games above 500 with a 578 win percentage. They lead the division. The New York Yankees 69 and 58. They are 4.5 games back of the Blue Jays. The Red Sox 69 and 59, 5 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays. So what you really would like to see here is a split. However, boy, does this get interesting if the Boston Red Sox sweep the New York Yankees. Now, in this scenario, for the Blue Jays, for it to all work out and us all to still feel pretty comfortable, it would sure be nice if we got the brooms out ourselves and took care of business in Miami. Because that would bury the Yankees, which, as we all are aware, has a very reasonable, level headed fan base. And we wouldn't see extreme, insane takes at all. That would be very funny on Twitter. Obviously kidding. Get on Twitter if the Yankees get swept. It'll be the greatest thing you've ever seen.
So this is funny. You're gonna laugh at this. This was bad. So, TSN, Marissa Roberto, she went to the Yankees Red Sox game yesterday, And on her story, she posted a Yankees fan, like dancing just behind her, cheering. And he sees her hat, and it's a Jays hat. And he goes, "Oh, I love the Edmonton Oilers."
Okay. Okay.
Dead serious, looking at the hat, sees a Jays hat, calls them, and I was dying laughing.
Man, that would be so great to like see a Yankees hat and be like, "Oh my God, I love the Philadelphia Flyers. That's awesome."
Yeah. It was
Oh
so fun. And I was just
boy.
like, this is like prime example of of what this fan base is.
So let's end things on taking a look at the Blue Jays schedule as we head down the gauntlet that is the final 34 games of the season. Obviously, they are in Miami for this weekend series. Then they come back home and they are playing the Minnesota Twins on the 25th, 26th, 27th. The 28th is an off day, which, by the way, if you are a Toronto Blue Jays fan and you like beer and you are a know it all, do I have an event for you? You like that transition, Maddie? That's
Oh
just
yeah. I'll make
professionalism
sure it looks
101.
really nice in
Yes,
the
there we
edits
go.
too.
So we do run Blue Jays trivia at Left Field Brewing. This one's going to be at Liberty Village. It starts at 7:30 on the 28th, and you can win all sorts of that tasty left field brew. We've got some other prizes to give away, and it is just an all-around good time getting together with everyone. Are you going to be able to be at this one on the 28th,
Oh
Matt?
yeah. I'm gonna
Hey,
be there. I typically need teammates every time, so if
yeah.
anyone comes and wants
Any solo folks, we can absolutely. There's a bunch of solo people who come together, and we like to put them together and create friendships that last years. I'm kidding. I don't know. But if nothing
they
else, you win
they
some beers with
last
fellow Jays fans. Yeah,
yeah, they last at least one trivia night.
at least
Guaranteed.
one beautiful trivia night.
But it's
Exactly.
it's always fun. You meet a bunch of people, talk to a bunch of people, and get into heated debates over who's right.
Tickets are $10. I know people sometimes push back about that, and I just want to tell you that I don't use AI. I do all of the trivia questions myself, and I spend hours doing it. And sorry, it's $10. But hopefully we see you out there. Getting back to the schedule, then after the 28th, it is a Battle of the Titans. The Behemoths go at it. The Milwaukee Brewers are in Toronto to face our Toronto Blue Jays. That should be a really good series. And it is kind of cool. I really like what the Blue Jays and the Brewers are doing, which is they have reinvented um, the way you win ball games. We haven't seen teams kind of do it on the back of everyone in the lineups contributing hits, 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 hits. Uh, you know what? Deep bullpens, obviously something that baseball has always relied on. Both the Blue Jays and the Brewers have plenty of that. It's interesting because I really do feel like in a copycat league, which is what all major sports leagues are, if the Brewers and the Blue Jays go deep into the playoffs, we may see more and more of this brand of baseball, which is a fun brand of baseball.
It's an excellent brand.
I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers are doing shit that no one thought they would do. And it's on the back of their youth, it's on the back of their veterans and how well that clubhouse has melded together. They are a team first team, and I think that that sums up the Toronto Blue Jays very well too. So huge, huge series there for both those teams. And then we get into September, and September is a bit of a meat grinder because it's all the teams that are competing at the end of this competing for a playoff spot. So they start in Cincinnati with the Reds, and then they go to New York for the last series against the Yankees, 3 game series there. Then you face Houston, then you face Baltimore, then you face the Tampa Bay Rays, the Kansas City Royals, the Boston Red Sox, the Tampa Bay Rays. A lot of interdivisional play, a lot of play against teams that you're battling it out with for the Blue Jays, that that spot where you can skip the wild card 3 game series and the meat grinder that is, and bunch of teams that want to spoil it too, right? Got a
Yeah,
lot of games
and
against the Rays and the Orioles.
I was just about to say, don't count out the Rays and the Orioles series because we know how poorly those went earlier this year.
Exactly.
It's it's all on the table. It's all up for grabs, and it's going to be an exciting race to the finish.
Thank you so much, everybody, for following along. Grounds crew, go ahead and drop your comments. Anything that we've talked about here, any opinions you may have, put them in the comments section, and we will try to tackle those on Mailbag Tuesday. For everyone who is a Patreon member, a big thank you to you folks. I know we've got a couple of new Patreon members, so a big thank you to Trisha and Golfy. Welcome to the Patreon. If you are interested in Patreon, it is a heck of a deal. For $4 a month, you get bonus content. So MLB Mondays, every single Monday, you get instant access to all of our interviews. I know we're talking with Riley Terada on Monday. Probably won't get that out for 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week. But if you want to get instant access, Patreon's the way to do it. You also have the Patreon bump in mailbag, and automatically your comment or question gets read in the mailbag. Again, we really do appreciate everyone who supports the channel. Could not do it without you. Baseball Town, September 4th. Get your tickets. That is in the comment section and the description. Your panel this time around is going to be Rob Wong from Sportsnet. We've got Chris Black, and from The Score, we've got Jonah Birnbaum and a very special guest that it should hopefully confirm next week. All right, folks, I'm Scott Belford. Matt, thank you so much for filling in for our man Adam. Always appreciate it. Take care, everyone.